So your testimony is false. It is a false testimony because God so loved the world that he gave his son. So wait a second. He loved you before you got it right. And if you think he loved you because you're about to be something, then you missed the gospel. And we're so terrified of our own stuff because we carry such a weight of shame over ourselves that we believe we are so punishable for our worst. And there's this like toxic shame so many Christians carry that we try to deal with either with religion and self-effort, or we try to deal with like sociopathy, where it's like, just forget it, you know? And it's like, no, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I won't even look at it. There's nothing there. And it's like both of those responses don't actually lead to freedom. Being fully vulnerable in your worst fears and your shame with God is the best thing you could possibly do, because God gets to meet you in that moment that only his love can eradicate that toxic shame. Like you said, Peter had guilt, the guilt over what he had done. Guilt and shame are completely different things. Guilt is I've done wrong. Shame is I am wrong. And I see so many Christians, like, here's the thing. I see so many Christians like, hey, would you share your testimony? Yeah. They get up on stage and they're like, I was disgusting. I was the worst form of a human being that you could imagine. And then I found Jesus. And you're like, okay, you see your past self completely different than the way that God did. So your testimony is false. It is a false testimony because God so loved the world that he gave his son. So wait a second. He loved you before you got it right. And if you think he loved you because you're about to be something, then you missed the gospel. The gospel is you can't get this right on your own. And he loves you all the more. Forgive them, Father, they don't know what they're doing. In your own man's ability to conceptualize and get it right, you'll never be able to. And he loves you all the same and sees you for your true self. Yeah. You know, it's like all of this emotional health is like, how do I like rectify all these things together? If I know your children are older than mine, but when my 3-year-old is like, you're mean, Dad, I don't like you, get away from me, I know he's actually saying, I want more connection with you. Yeah. I have a stronger desire for love. There's things that I need I don't know how to articulate. And if I take it at face value, I'm actually denying him true connection because I don't see him for who he actually is.
And you take it personally, thinking that he's actually saying that he doesn't like you.
Yes, and the temptation is there all the time because that's how I was treated. Hey, you don't talk to people that way. Hey, you don't say that. You know, if you want to communicate, you communicate like this. Instead of like, I see that you're so upset, kiddo. There's a lot of pain there, huh? Were you just trying to get my attention? Yeah. You know, and that is God's perspective, and is like, I see through all the bullshit of what you think is going on, and I can see your heart. Oh, you're sinning? Yeah, I'm not waiting to condemn and judge you and force my retribution upon you. I actually see the restoration of you encountering love in the midst of your worst and what that will do for your life.
And what's so hard about it, Spencer, is that this was me. You're trained growing up to believe that when we're in our worst, when we're just go read your Bible more.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, just go pray more. And I'm not saying we shouldn't pray. Don't get me wrong, but the types of prayer that we're taught to pray are all left brain prayers.
Yeah.
Or go, read this, or it's all left brain stuff. And again, I think there's a degree to which when Paul writes in Ephesians, I pray that you might know beyond knowledge the love of God for you. There's a left-right brain connection. He's saying, I pray that you might, in your right side of your brain, the experiential part of who you are, might know beyond left brain knowledge the love of God for you. We've got to go experience his love. We've got to go, and I think, a lot of what we're talking about, and this is again, I don't want to beat anybody up. I don't want to beat any particular groups of people up. But I do think there's a problem in at least in the Western world today, as it relates to healthy biblical community. Yeah. Like, loneliness is at an all-time high. Yeah. We don't have people that we can sit with and go, hey, my greatest fear is of being found out. Yeah. My greatest fear is being found out. I can take that to Jesus and sit with Jesus. And I think it's important that we use prayer and how Jesus is showing up in our lives. What's Jesus actually say about us? You know, closing your eyes and asking him, God, I feel I'm afraid of being found out as a fraud. What do you say about me? What's the truth about who I am?
Yeah.
But then being able to, sometimes we draw a blank. We can't hear from him. There's reasons for that, or we don't know. We're questioning if actually what we're hearing is true. Where we need people in our lives to say, hey, no, this is what God says about you, or
Yeah.
someone to pray with you, to show up and live it out. And I just really encourage us. I think, you know, one of the things that I have found most in my life that has been the greatest healing agent for me has been finding that holy of holies, those inner people that, and again, this is not just something that comes out of the pie in the sky. Like, you've got a war for this, whether it's in your own church, whether it's in your community, whether it's in your, you know, wherever it is. It's finding people who it is your inner circle. You can be yourself. You can state your greatest fear, and you know they're going to be there in prayer for you. You know they're going to be there to speak truth in your life and see you, not be jealous, not feed into your sense of victimhood, if you will, if you're living in victimhood, but they will see you and love you out of that place of love you through that place to the other side where there is freedom. And man, I just think there's something to be said for that, for each of us. If there's any practical, as we think practice here, finding that community. We've had to pray into that community. We've had to date that community. Like, it's like you have to date friends. You have to date people. Like, how much can I trust? How much, you know, and just really start to find ways that you can form those holy relationships, those holy of holy relationships.
Well, what you're saying,
I can't overemphasize it enough.
for sure. And here's what I'll say to add on to that, because I bet you'd agree with this, but tell me if not. Community for community's sake can almost destroy you too, because you're putting your eggs in the basket of community to save you from your loneliness and to save you from your own rejection of yourself, to save you. It's like you're waiting for them to give you all the things that mom and dad couldn't when you were young, and you're looking for childhood redemption inside a community, when community is another, it's a lowercase s source that you need, but it's a signpost to God that is absolutely required in the Christian faith, because people can escape into a fabricated God image when they're just alone and isolated. And it's like, you'll go, oh, I don't have to face myself. It's like, no, you're not having to face consequences.